Hello, Angel's mom. It is so nice to meet with you and to discuss Angel's progress in the class. He has been doing such a great job. He's such a hard worker, and he's just a great addition to our classroom, especially after only coming here in the middle of the quarter. He's been doing an amazing job. He has such an infectious smile, so he makes the students around him really happy, and makes me feel happier too, which makes my job easier. Um, I've noticed that he loves to figure things out on his own, um, with me too there, but he really just enjoys working hard and doing things and figuring them out. I've noticed that a lot. I've also been super impressed with how quickly he's caught on to reading in the English language, especially since um, his first language is Spanish. He works really hard to read and to try and figure words out. I've noticed that he's really good at sounding out words. He looks at each individual letter and he knows how to figure out what the word says most of the time. Of course, there's hard words that most of the class aren't understanding, but he does a great job of sounding out the words that we've worked on. I've also noticed he has really great handwriting. Um, this isn't as much about reading, but he has really great writing. I wanted to show you this paper that we worked on as a class. We had chosen a topic, and they got with a partner, and they wrote about their partner, their what they really liked to do, and what their favorite candy was, things like that. And so he wrote this, and you can see how legible his handwriting is, which is really great. He does a good job with that. We also did some running records, and this is the first one I gave him. It's a more on the beginning level, but it's pretty simple for first graders. There's a couple of hard words in there that they had to sound out a little more, like the words where and the sometimes still gets tricky, but he remembered it so well. They remembered that the WH in where makes the W sound, so that was awesome. So on this one, there's 62 words total, and he got 59 right out of 62, which is awesome. He's doing a great job. Um, and he was able to sound out everything that was on there. And we also did another running record. And this one is a little more tricky. It has a lot of the sight words that we've been working on, and like today and some. And this is that one. Um, So he had a little trouble with some of the bigger words, but that's expected because we haven't gone over them. Like the word people, we haven't done that, or blankets, those kind of words. He had a little more like a little harder time with, but he still got 47 out of 54 on these ones, which is a lot tougher. So it shows me that he's right on track. Sometimes it takes him a little longer to sound out a word, but that's okay. He's still doing a great job of working hard to read and understand what he's reading. Um, this was something that I did with him individually. It's called the Burt Reading Inventory. This one is just to kind of see how they see themselves as readers and how they view reading in general. Um, Based on this inventory, I could tell that he thinks of himself as a good reader, which is good. I would hate for him to feel that he can't read. Um, so I'm glad that he has that self perception. I don't know if he is very passionate about it yet. Based on his answers, he didn't seem to really care what we were talking about as much. But I mean, that's normal for any first grader. But I'm glad that he has a good perception of reading and of himself with reading. So yeah, he's just been awesome. And a lot of the strengths that I've seen in him is that he's really good at, um, like I said, his handwriting is really good. He's really good at sounding out words, and he tries really hard to figure words out and to read it fluently. So something that I was thinking we could do is we can work together to keep building off of those strengths. So when we're in the classroom, I want to continue working on fluency by reading books and really practicing our sight words so that when he sees those sight words, he can immediately recognize those words and read it a little more smoothly when he's reading. So that's something else that you can do at home is just continue practicing the sight words, and we'll keep working on that at home and at school. Another thing that we'd like to do is to just continue writing throughout the school day. I'd love to see his writing progress because he's already doing a great job. Um, and I am going to send you home with some salt. And it's really great because you can pour it onto a plate or a pan or something, and he can actually write in the salt, so he can practice writing sight words or other words in the salt. It's really great for them to do that at home. It's great practice for them, and it'll help him remember how to read certain words fluently. Um, there are just a couple things that I wanted to address that I think would be really good to focus on right now, and help him progress in the best way possible moving forward. I have noticed that he has a little harder time just with fluency and comprehension. Um, but I mean, that's normal. They're still learning to read, they're still learning to sound out the words. And so I think that working on fluency and uh, recognizing the words faster will really, in turn, help his comprehension as well. Because I think right now he's just taking the time to read the word and then he gets that word and then just moves on. So I don't think he is paying as much attention to the story on what it's saying, which is okay. He's still doing a great job. I just think that if we work on the fluency, that will in turn help with his comprehension so that he's understanding more of what he's reading. Um, so in class, I'd also like to work on that. I'm going to work with the whole class on that because they all kind of struggle. Um, but what we'd like to do is just take the time to discuss what we read after we read something. So if I'm reading a story with him, after we read each page, I would stop and discuss it with him, see if he's understanding it, if he's um, grasping the information that we're reading. And then if we do that on each page, he'll be able to understand more of what we're reading in the whole book. So that's something else that you can do at home. I know something that would help as well is if you have a book that he just really loves or he really likes that book, read it over and over again at home, because the more that he reads it, the more he'll be able to quickly recognize those words, and that will help with his fluency and his comprehension as well. Another thing we're going to do to help with fluency is to point to the words as we read. Seems like such a simple thing, but it will really help him to be able to um, keep him on track and remember that he's reading a story so he can comprehend it more and understand more of what he's reading. But overall, Angel is doing a really great job. He is such a great addition to the class. He's a really good friend, and he's a great example to the other students as well. Whenever we're reading as a class, he sits quietly, and he's happy to volunteer and help. And I have him come up a lot, and I'll have him help me point out words as we read on the board. He has just been doing a really great job. And something else that I forgot to mention at the beginning is he is really intrinsically motivated, which is something hard to find in first graders. Um, Obviously, kids like the rewards, but I've noticed that he really just enjoys working because he knows that it'll be good for him. So as we're reading, he doesn't give up on words. He sits there and he tries to figure it out. He works really hard. Um, and sometimes he gets a little frustrated if he can't figure it out on his own and has to ask for help. But he does a really good job of motivating himself to do things because he knows that it will benefit him in the future. So I've been really impressed with that.